Hey YouTube, long time no see. Sorry, I've been busy. Just finished school. Um, well, I've been finished with school since I started this, haven't I? But it's been busy transitioning to a new job, and the world is ending. So that's been kind of difficult starting a new job and kind of being sort of fresh out of training, and then all of a sudden everybody pack up and go home and take everything home and work from there. So between that and still working pretty much 8 hours a day and being stuck in the house pretty much nonstop, it's been kind of, I don't know, busy and exhausting. But I'm back with another video. I just most recently updated my blog, so I just made a post about that the other day. It's now under inside my creative mind .com versus at my blogspot. I went ahead and purchased it. I figure I just graduated with a creative writing degree. Let's make steps and write more and make more posts and publish, and let's get that ball rolling. So, I wanted to make, I'm sorry, I'm by the window and I noticed that I don't know, the lighting keeps changing. I thought if I sat by the window and then not only that, got this cool, funky light going on behind me, that I wouldn't have any issues, but oh well, we'll make do. Um, One post I've been wanting to make recently for at least the past couple of months, um, as I've been trying to write a little bit more and unpacking a lot of stuff in my personal life, is talking about how perhaps maybe trauma affects memory. Um, and I kind of sat on it, haven't made a post about it recently, or, back when I first started thinking about it, because I wanted to kind of do some research on it. Um, I wasn't really finding exactly as it pertains to me if that's possible. Um, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So as far as I go, back in 2012, I was living in Chicago. Towards the end of that, well, actually, towards the spring of that year, I was pretty close to losing my place. So I was doing pretty much everything in my power to make moves, whether it be to move or go to court to try to keep my place and things like that. And it was kind of a traumatic experience to go through that, legal proceedings and being in the city all by myself. I didn't have family and friends out there. I was by myself. And also working full time. And not only just working full time, but working at a place. I lived in the city on the south side of Chicago, and I worked all the way out in the suburbs. I didn't have a car. So my transportation seemed to take as long as my fucking shift sometimes. But, to have your days kind of filled up and then have all of this stress added onto it, um, it was kind of traumatic. And while I was in the thick of it, that wasn't traumatic. It's when everything came to an end, when I finally did lose my place, had to move back to Ohio. That's when once everything was quiet, that's when everything settled in. So I spent like the 2 years after that depressed. I didn't have a job. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to be here. Um, so it was hard. It was very hard. And it was extremely hard going through that. And at the same time, maybe 3 months after I had moved back, I had an aunt who was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So to go through that and to try and tuck away what I was going through, because she was going through something more serious. She was dying. Um, and she did, maybe a year or two after being diagnosed, she eventually passed away. Um, so once that was said and done, once she had passed away, I was like, you know what, I can't sit here and just not do anything with my life. So I picked up, moved on, and Eventually found other jobs and went back to school, as you know, I just finished and stuff like that. But as I'm unpacking things in my life now and trying to focus on things that make me joy, bring me joy, whatever, I can't talk. Um, in the past, my biggest joy was music. Like I said, going to and from work when I was working in Chicago, I would spend like an hour, hour and a half to and from work, um, on a bus, then a train, or a train, then a bus. And I would be plugged in the entire time. And I just remember back in those days that even though I was in a very stressful job, those moments before and after work is was important to me. I would listen to all these bands, these artists, this music that I liked. And now, you know, in most recent years, I've lost my father, I've miscarried, and it's like I don't have that kind of medium to kind of center me, which music was for me in the past. And I started thinking after I've kind of not moved past, because I'll never move past the death of my father. I'll never move past losing my first kid. Like that's something that will always stick with me. But after moving past like the big brunt of it, after it actually happens, I want to try to get back to music, to listen to things that make me happy. And then I realized recently when I would listen to things like on the radio or a post that a friend would post on Facebook or Twitter or any social media, and I would think like, that used to be my favorite song. Why don't I remember that? You know, and not in a sense where it's like I have no recollection of the song. I mean, in a sense where if it's a song that I knew every single lyric to, I I don't remember the lyrics anymore. And for me, most oftentimes when a song first starts off, like the couple of seconds, I know it. Now it's just like I have to damn near get to the chorus. So I'm like, oh, now I remember that song. But it seems to be more often that I'm finding memory loss in things that used to bring me joy in the past. And what I also find weird is that it's mainly memories from that particular time. I went through a rough time like in 2005. I had gotten into it with a very close person to me that really kind of ripped my heart out. Honestly, this person was very important to me, and we had a falling out in like the most epic way ever. And I kind of realized that music, movies, anything creative like that that would center me from about 2005 till about 2014, I have no recollection of. I have no recollection of. And that made me start thinking of, does traumatic events, and it doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, I necessarily don't think I have PTSD. I don't think that at all. Because I think when I think PTSD, I think something more serious, more horrific. Abuse, war, things like that. I don't think me losing my house, even though traumatic for me as it was, I don't think anyway that it would cause me any PTSD. But when I tried to do research and search memory loss due to traumatic events, it always narrowed down to PTSD. Um, so I was just wondering, has anybody else had anything like that? Do you feel like that there was a moment in time where you just can't really put all the pieces together, that you just really not maybe don't have any total loss of memory from it, but maybe you can't pinpoint like a certain song with a time period in your life, something that you like I said, when I was used to ride on the train, I was one of those geeky kids. Not kids, I wasn't a kid. But even though I don't really like Apple products, whenever they would drop an iPod, I wanted it. I wanted it, and I would get the one with the biggest gigabyte because I wanted to fill it up with everything. And then when they came out with the video one, forget it. It was over. But I had so many songs from bands that nobody had heard of, from bands that were maybe not huge here in America, to old school stuff, to stuff that was cheesy, like TV show theme songs, just cheesy, just every genre. And I have no recollection of it, which kind of sucks because there were a lot of bands. I can't find my charger to my iPod, so I can't try to power it up to kind of reminisce. But there were a lot of bands that I had, that I've forgotten about. And since they're really not making any music anymore, and if they are, they're really really underground now. Like I don't have any, like, before the sky started falling this year. Um and I got this new job, so I have more money. I had purchased tickets to 3 concerts this year. One's already been canceled, 2 have been pushed back. One's been pushed back to July, and I'm pretty sure we're in May. It's going to get pushed back even further, if not canceled. Um, but 2 of the 3 bands I have seen before live, and let me tell you that even though I have video of the concert, I really don't remember that experience. And these were concerts that I went to in about 2011, 2012. So it's in that time span of between, like I said, 2005 till about 2014. Like, these are bands that I was in love with, and I do not remember their experience at the show. Like, we're talking about, I'm the person where any concert I go to, I'm seeking out the band afterwards. I'm not a groupie in a sense that I'm sleeping with them, but I'm a groupie in a sense where I'm like, where are they at? I gotta meet them. I need an autograph. I need a picture, whatever. And it's like the 2 bands were Gogo Bordello and Foxy Shazam. And I've spoken with them, after shows or whatever. And even though I have the pictures to prove it, I don't remember it. Um, I remember it in bits and pieces, like in Foxy Shazam. And the only reason is because maybe this is a constant in my life, but I met a girl after the Foxy show that her and I now are still good friends. Um, Albeit, even though she still lives in Chicago, I'm in Ohio, so it's mainly through social media. She's still a really good friend of mine. But outside of that, I don't remember anything from that show. Um, and I just wondered that if that's a possibility, if that's a possibility that when you go through something hard, that even your memory kind of hides the good times. Because, music is my passion. I wasn't pursuing in music as far as maybe singing or playing an instrument, but I used to just be able to sit down and drown out everything that was going on, put in my headphones, and it would be okay. And I feel sad because I don't have that anymore. I don't have that anymore. Um, I can go back and reminisce with bands that are bigger, obviously, but the ones that were more obscure, I don't know. And with the music today, that doesn't bring me any joy. I'll get the occasional song here and there, but that's it. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys had that experience before where, it doesn't matter anything? Maybe you've had books in your past that you've read from cover to cover, and you've read them several times, and, you haven't touched it in a while, and you pick it up and you're like, I don't remember any of this. Even though maybe sometimes that can happen for a book. But I don't know. I don't know. But it does make me kind of sad that there are spots in my past where I was happy, and I can't even remember the happy. I can't even remember that. Like, the sadness took over so much that it took away my happy, and that sucks. It really does. Um, but yeah, but once I find a charger for that, I've got a first generation iPad, and I don't even know what generation my iPod is. But once I find a charger, it's around here somewhere. Once I'm able to connect that up, I'm gonna be able to go back. I just don't know if I'll be able to piece together the soundtrack to certain memories in my life, you know. But we'll see. So I don't know. Guys, talk to me. Leave comments. Let me know if you've gone through things like that. If there's anything that if you have gone through things like that or know people who have, what have you done to try and recapture that? Or is it worth it recapturing? Or do you think maybe, I also thought, is it something to do with me getting older? I mean, we're comparing over 10 years ago. I'm 37. I was, 27, 26, 25 back then. Maybe it's just a possibility that, that has no place in my life anymore. It's the past. But still, before that time period, if you would give me any artist, any song, obscure or not, I can give you lyrics. I can remember places and time and what I was doing and what I was listening to, probably down to what I was wearing. It's just that point in my life where things were kind of just a big roller coaster that I don't remember anything. But before that, I can remember everything. So I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it is traumatic memory loss. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is partial because of me being older, but I don't know. Let me know. I'll try to be more active. I don't know. Um, I'll make a separate video about probably what I'm working on and get that posted. Maybe a little short videos here. I also started to think about when I have videos longer like this one. This one's almost 20 minutes. I'm sorry. Um, when I have maybe short, like little 4 or 5 minute videos, maybe I'll just make an IGTV versus bugging you guys on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I'm working on some stuff sporadically, like always. Sorry. But yeah, let me know. Like, subscribe, or don't. I'm not your mom. Whatever. All right. But thanks, guys.